Tilak. She's going to do it. Okay, but to do that properly, we have to change the setting here. Whoops. Where do I do it? Ah, there it is. Music on. Now you can do it again. It'll sound more like music.
Like church bells.
Yeah. You can play it like a harp. Okay. Yes, Saturday Sangha. Welcome to Saturday Sangha. Thank you all for coming, despite or maybe because of the weather. Last week we had devotees here, and here today we have devotees again. But today we have the hardcore. Because last week was nice sunny weather, and this week we have nice rainy weather. Yes, confirmed. That they have a life of their own, those bells. I have to remember when I talk, I should turn music off, and when I sing, I should turn it on. So let's start with some chanting of mantras. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatang Vitang Tang Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. You're okay standing? I know your back is a thing, but there are chairs, there's stool, there's, yeah, what to do. You've gotten practiced at standing. All right. Good. So again, welcome everyone. I saw Bhavada for a moment and then he disappeared. And there he is again. Welcome, Bhavada. And Rasa Shri Ramdas is here. Everyone can congratulate. You can turn on your microphones and say a very big Haribol for Rasa Shri Ramdas, newly initiated just days ago.
Haribol.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nandi Mukhi.
Haribol.
Haribol. Haribol.
Yes, so good. Except nobody knows Rasa Shri Ramdas what you look like because you're practically in shadow.
Oh.
You have to turn on your self-effulgence or something.
Hare Krishna, dear Guru Maharaj, and all the devotees, my obeisances. Thank you very much.
And thank you for joining us. And all of you from all your different places. Prema Sarovara is with us from Beijing. Yes.
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Yes. Ni hao ma.
我好 fine.
Ah, wow. Okay.
How are you, Guru Maharaj?
Wow.
Thank you so
An
much.
hao. An hao.
Very fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. So, what shall we do? Today we have another song. I'm going to move this a little bit to the right and turn off. No, maybe not. I'll leave that on. And we'll go here. First, let's review last week's song briefly. In particular, verse number 3. Well, it starts out like many of Narottama Thakura's songs in his Prarthana with Hari Hari. So he's calling out to the Lord. And he says, Kripa Kori Rako Nija Pore. Please give me shelter at your feet. So that's a bona fide prayer. Please give me shelter at your feet, O Lord. In the third, I wanted to, in the second verse, he says, I've been wandering about in material existence, disguised as a Vaishnava. Disguised as a Vaishnava. Let's see how he says that. Kapata Vaishnava Veshe. Yeah. Kapata means cheating and being not straightforward. And Vesha means dress. So Kapata Vaishnava Veshe, in the dress of a cheating Vaishnava, or cheating in the dress of a Vaishnava. So he's says, I've been going door to door, Brahmaya, Buliye, Gore Gore, going door to door. And wandering door to door, presumably to beg alms. Thank you, Radharaman. And then the third verse, Oneka duker pore, Onek duker pore, lo ye chile brajapure, kripa dore galai bandiya. when I suffered many miseries, you, Lord Hari, tied your rope of mercy around my neck. Loyeche Brajapure Kripa Dore, Dore must be a rope, Galai on the neck, Bandiya, having tied me around the neck with the rope. Which rope? Kripa Dore, with the rope of your mercy. Okay, but that's only the first part. Then he says, Daiva Maya Balatkare Kasaya Shedore Bhava Kupe Dilek Darya. The illusory energy then forcibly untied those ropes, Kasaya Shedore, and again threw me into the well of material existence. So I was dragged by you, O Lord, to Braja, and then what happened? I got dragged away again. But it's interesting, he says, Daiva Maya. Daiva, what means Daiva? Well, it comes from Deva, so related to divinity, but it also it can have the sense of destiny. It just happened somehow or other. But it's Daiva Maya. It's could also be taken as by the Lord's Maya, by the illusion of the Lord. The translation doesn't say that, it just says the illusory energy. Okay. Bhava Kupe put me into the well of material existence. Darya. Dileko Darya. Yeah, so, and then the last verse, he says, Punaha Jadi Kripa Kori, if you can be merciful to me again. So he's praying to the Lord, be merciful. And then he says, you have been merciful. You took me to Vrindavan. But then your Maya took me away from Vrindavan. Now, Punaha Jadi Kripa Kori, if Jadi, you are merciful again. Ejaner, someone else is coming. Ejanar Keshe Dari, Kesha. What is Kesha? Yeah. Hair, yes. And Hari, I think there should be an apostrophe, Dariya. No, maybe not. If you again grab me by the hair, Taniya tulahu brajabhume, pull this person from illusion's well and place me in the abode of Braja. Tabe, then, she dekiye bhalo. Bhalo is good. Bengali. If anyone asks you how you are in Bengal, you can say, Kubalo. Kubalo. I'm very well. And if the weather is nice, you can say, Kubalo. Weather, matlab, I don't remember. So if grasping his hair, you mercifully pull this person from illusion's well and place him in the abode of Braja, he will see that this is his great good fortune. Otherwise, his life will end. Hare Krishna, welcome. Hare Krishna. Harinam Amrita has come, and also Rimata.
Mother like hope.
Huh?
Exactly translation. from English to Slovene, nada, hope.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Yes, we're all talking about you because you have brought hope. You have brought hope, and you brought Harinamamrita, the holy name. Oh, and Madhu. Oh, Madhya, despite the rain. Welcome, welcome. Yeah. Look what the rain brought in. Okay, so Tabe se dekya bhalo natuva prana gelo. And we maybe remember this is the word prana, which means breathing, but it also means life. And it's a little bit stretched out with one syllable to make it parana instead of prana. Gelo, left, it's gone. So if I don't get your mercy, my life's finished. There's very often this threat the devotees make. If you don't give me your mercy, I'm finished. I'm going to be gone in this case. It says, my life will be gone. Okay, that was last week's. Now we go to today's. Hari Hari Boro Shelo Marame rahilo pāiyā durllabha. Sometimes they translate. Sometimes they write it in Bengali, where there's an R and then an L. In some other cases, they'll put two L's for some reason. Durllabha. So durllabha tanu, Shri Krishna bhajana vinu, janma, mora, viphala, hoilo. Hare Krishna. Oh, Darya Chandrika has just arrived also. Welcome. Yeah, maybe you should all move more this way, if you like. And feel free, whoever wants to use this bench, so to say. Everyone's being very humble. They're all sitting on the floor. Okay. Okay, let's see if anyone else comes. Yes, what does it mean? Oh Lord Hari, oh Lord Hari, oh a great javelin. What's a javelin? A javelin is a spear, like a spike, has pierced me in the core of the heart. Boro śela. Marame. Okay, this is another case of stretching. The word is marma. Marma can mean heart. It can mean sort of the essence, the core, the substance. So in the heart, marame rahilo. There's a big lance has gone right into my heart. And then he explains, pāiyā durllabha tanu. Having attained this difficult to get human body, Sri Krishna bhajana vinu, without worshipping Krishna, Sri Krishna, I've neglected the worship of Krishna, and in this way, my life has become useless. Janma, mora, viphala, hoilo. Palo means phala, phala. P-H-A-L-A, phala. No, means fruit. Yeah. Patram pushpam palam toyo. Yes, and viphala in this context means no fruit, fruitless, without fruit. Vrajendra nandana hari navadvīpe avatarī because in Bengali, a V after a D becomes D, so you kind of becomes double D. Navadvīpe, at least in modern Bengali. Navadvīpe avatarī. Jagat bhariyā prema dilo. Mui se pāmaramati. Bisheshe kotina ati. Tei mor. I think that's should be say. It's got to be an S there. Se more karuna nahilo. If it is te, then I've never seen that before. Although Lord Hari, the Prince of Braja, descended to Navadvīpe and filled the universe with pure love of God, he was not merciful to me because I was very cruel and sinful at heart. This mui is sort of poetic Bengali. I think it comes from Brajbuli. It would otherwise just be ami to murka. Ami she pamara mati. Mui she pamara mati. So I think this mui, I don't know anything what I'm saying, but I think it's poetic Bengali to make it mui. Visheshe kotina ati. Let's see. Yeah. So he descended to Navadvīpe, jagat bhariyā prema dilo, to give the universe dilo, he gave, past tense, to fill the universe with pure love of God. Maybe that bhariyā is giving the sense of filling. Muise pamar mati bisheshe kotin ati. Kotin ati. Ati is excessive. Kotin in this case means cruel. And specific, visheshe can mean specifically or particularly. And yeah. So I was especially cruel, especially cruel, because ati also. And then se more karuna nahilo. So he did not give me mercy. And he explains why. Visheshe kotina ati. All right, verse 3, shorup, because again, the S followed by V, it actually becomes like two S's. But all the S's in Bengali, they end up sound like in English, SH, sho. So SS, shorup, instead of svarup. Sanskrit would be svarupa. Bengali, shorup, shorupo, shorupo. Shonatan, rupa, raghunatha bhatta, bhatta juga, yuga becomes juga. Tahate na hoilo moramoti. My mind, where are we? Yes, my mind refuses to think. Tahate na hoilo moramoti. So moramoti, my mind. And I think that mora is also poetic. Poetic of me, because otherwise it would be amar moti. Modern Bengali would be amar. But mora moti. Tahate na hoilo. Mati, my mind. So my mind did not become hoilo, or was not tahate in them, I guess. Swarup Sanatan Rupa Raghunath Bhatta Juga. Okay, Raghunath Bhatta Juga actually means Raghunath Bhatta and Raghunath Dasa. They're often referred to as the two Raghunaths. And Juga means both or two. Right. Swarup Sanatan Rupa Raghunatha Bhatta Juga Tahate na hoilo mora mati. Divya Chintamani Dham Vrindavana Hano Stan She Dhame Na Koinu Bashati. I decline to make my residence in Vrindavan Dham, the abode of transcendental Chintamani gems. Na koinu bhashati. Koinu, I make, or I do. And bhashati, vasana, to live, to reside. So a braja vasi, what is a braja vasi? A resident of Vrindavan, yeah. So this, I think vasati, I don't know, it's stretching out maybe. In any case, residing. I did not make my residence, or I do not make my residence in She Dhame, in this Dhamma. Divya Chintamani Dham, it's transcendental. Vrindavan, Hano Stan. Hano means such a transcendental place. It's such a transcendental place as Vrindavan, and what do? I don't make myself a resident there. What is wrong with me? Vishesha vishaye moti nahilo vaishnava roti nirantara kheda utte mone. My mind is absorbed in sense gratification. Vishesha vishaye mati. Mati is mind. And vishaye, in senses, in the sense objects. Yeah, and vishesha, again, specific, I think, or particularly, maybe especially. I'm especially absorbed, or I'm absorbed in sense gratification. Nahilo Vaishnava Rati. I do not take pleasure in the association of Vaishnavas. Rati, of course, means attraction. So Nahilo Vaishnava Rati. Nahi is the negative, and Nahilo is, I think, past tense, first person, I did not. Nirantara keda utte mone. For this reason, pain and regret arise in my heart. Okay. So here he's translating mone, which can be mind, as heart. And utte means arising, and keda must be pain and regret. And nirantara means constantly. Looks like he left that out. Narottama Dasa kohe, Narottama Das says, Jivar uchita nohe. Narottama says, it is not good to live Sri Guru Vaishnava Seva Bine without serving the spiritual master and the Vaishnavas. Yeah. So he's Jivara Uchita Nahe. So the jivara, of course, jiva means life, or a jiva, living entity, and jivara, of. So it's possessive, uchita, arisen or elevated, the elevation of the jiva, of life. So he's saying it's not good. Jivar uchita nahe, nahe. Nohe, I think, is nahe. It's just been translated with an O instead of a A. Right, that's kind of what it is all about. Now let's make it into music. Oh, original sound for musicians off. Sound for musicians on. Yes, good. All right, here we go. There's various percussion instruments. There's a mridanga. Harinam Amrita, you're a mridanga player, aren't you? No? You'll try, okay. Purnamasi is going to try. And yes, there's assorted shakers and whatnot. There's also, we have, and just behind this, yes, they're called mu-yi, I think. Yes, Prema Sarovara can correct our pronunciation. Mu-yi. Can you play the, huh?
木鱼
Mu-yi. Yes,
Yeah.
mu-yi.
I think so.
Who's going to play the mu-yi? Oh, it's Harinam Amrita. It's not difficult. Yes, yeah, like that. Okay, we'll let you practice once. Okay, you'll manage. All right, and let's see if we can get harmonium going. Hari Hari Boro śela Marame rahilo Hari Hari Boro śela Marame rahilo pāiyā durllabha Shri Krishna bhajana vinu pāiyā durllabha tanu Shri Krishna bhajana vinu janma mora viphala hoilo janma mora viphala hoilo janma mora viphala hoilo janma mora viphala hoilo vrajendra nandana hari navadvīpe avatarī vrajendra hari vrajendra nandana hari navadvīpe avatarī. Jagat bhajana prema dilo bhajana prema dilo jagat bhajana prema dilo jagat I think we could slow down a little. Moise pamara mati visheshe kotina ati. Moise pamara visheshe kotina Moise Amaramati Visheshe Kotina Ati Moise She more Karuna rahilo karuna rahilo se more karuna rahilo se Swarupa sanatan rupa. Little slow. Swarupa sanatan rupa. Raghunatha bhatta juga. Swarupa sanatan Rupa sanatan rupa rupa raghunatha bhatta sarupa sanatan raghunatha bhatta tahate na hoilo mora mati tahate mora mati tahate na hoilo mora mati tahate na hoilo Divya Chintamanidam Vrindavana Henostana Divya Chintamani Divya Chintamani Vrindavana Henostana Sedame na koinuba sati. Sedam na koinu asiti. Vishesha vishaye mate nahilo vaishnavērati. Vishesha vishaye mate nahilo vaishnavērati. Nirantara khera utte mane. Mane. Nirantara khera utte mane. Narottama Dasa kohe jivara uchita nohe. Narottama Dasa kohe jivara uchita nohe. Shri Guru Vaishnava Seva Bine. Shri Guru Vaishnava Seva Dine. Hari Hari Boro Sela Marame rahilo. Hari Hari Boro Sela Marame rahilo. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. We have quite a band here. I think we're ready to go on tour. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Narottama Das Thakur ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai. So, Narottama Das Thakur is with us. Through his words, through his song. But I would really like to have been able to hear Narottama Das Thakur sing this song. What do you think? Would that be nice? Yeah. Narottama Das Thakur is said to have developed a special kirtan style. And I haven't studied this. I think some say yes, and we know what it is, and this is what we do. And others say, no, it's actually been lost. We don't have the real thing. Well, whatever. So, welcome again, everyone. Those of you who have joined us a bit later, including some of us here. Vijay Bihari, do you want to come closer? There's space up here if you want to come. Yeah. There's lots of space. Adibol. Yes, we've been having some wet weather the last 3 days. Yeah. And half of Slovenia is underwater. We hear. The north of Slovenia, they say, is also here.
No, not me, but here.
Yeah, but at least we're not flooded here. Our cellar, our basement here is flooded, but just that much. And fortunately, nothing is on the floor. Well, there was something on the floor, but I went down and I got it off the floor. So, but speaking of the weather, and taking a different perspective, because everyone's going, how horrible. So a perspective from Light of the Bhagavata by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. As some of you will know, and some of you may not know, Srila Prabhupada was hoping to go to Japan in, I think it was in the late 50s or early 60s. There was some letter exchange, and it looked like it was going to happen, and then somehow it didn't come through, the funding or whatever. He was going to go, and he was going to give talks on the light of the Bhagavata, and specifically his plan was to talk about this chapter. Which chapter is it? In the 10th canto, the description of the rainy season of autumn. I'm forgetting which chapter, somebody will know. There were paintings, I don't know, there were paintings made at that time, but years later, Tamal Krishna Goswami arranged for paintings to be made to illustrate. And I'm not very prepared. I should first find out who was the artist. It's all here in the book. Okay, but the very first painting is in shades of gray. It's like this. And there's a description. And the description, which I believe is from Srila Prabhupada, he says, the arrival of clouds accompanied by thunder and flashes of lightning all over the sky provides a picture of life-giving hope. And then he goes on, covered by deep bluish clouds, the sky appears artificially dressed. The thunder and lightning within the clouds are signs of hope for a new way of life. This last phrase really struck me. The thunder and lightning within the clouds are signs of hope for a new way of life. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, the context here, you can say, yes, well, that's India where, after the dry season, everyone's very happy to see the clouds, but we get so much rain here anyway, so we're not so happy. But in any case, signs of hope for a new way of life. I like that. Yeah, this is a very nice book. There are many paintings, and then Prabhupada's explanations come. I guess it's all, I don't know if it's the same in his Krishna book or not, but there it is. Light of the Bhagavata. Right, so, didam. Time passes.
I have one question regarding the song.
Yes. Nari Chandrika has a question.
Okay, so the last one, when Narottama Das Thakura thinking, saying, singing.
About the song.
About the song, yeah.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
That my mind is absorbed in sense gratification and I do not take pleasure in the association of Vaishnavas. For this reason, pain and regret arise in my heart. I can totally relate with this, and I would like to ask you, when does the change take place?
Well, I don't know if we can put dates on these things. But I think what, like so many, if not all of these songs from the Acharyas, we can say that they have a didactic purpose. I guess the rest of you online did not hear the question, right? So Odari Chandrika is bringing us back to verse 4 of the song, saying, I do not take pleasure in the association of Vaishnavas. For this reason, pain and regret arise in my heart. And she's saying, I can relate to this. So, and your question is, when? When does when does the change take place where we will feel pleasure in the association of Vaishnavas? Is that the question?
Yeah, because Narottama Das Thakur, he was also aware of what it means, association of Vaishnavas and living in Vrindavan, but still he didn't do that. I mean, he didn't.
Yeah, he's feeling like that. Well, I think the first point is that he's teaching a lesson, and so he's in an indirect way, he's saying the association of Vaishnavas is pleasurable. I'm unfortunate because I'm not experienced, or I didn't experience that. And being aware of this, there's pain in my heart. So he's, as I understand, he's describing a condition of being in transition. Otherwise, why would he be approaching the Lord at all? But he's saying, I need your help. It's really painful to me now. I realize what a fool I am, that I'm not appreciating the association of Vaishnavas, and I feel regret for that. So regret is the beginning of reform, right? If there's no regret, then there's probably not going to be any reform. But if there's regret, that's the stage of, or that's the first step toward, is it the first step? Regret, remorse, I don't know difference. This is Mahatma Prabhu's specialty. He can tell us the difference between regret and remorse. My sense of, these are all English words, but regret is, whoops, it's kind of the initial, uh-oh, I did something wrong. I am doing something wrong. And remorse is more the deeper feeling, which has within it a sense of wanting to correct it. Feeling remorseful is feeling like, oh, I really have to do something about this. In any case, he's expressing what's translated here as regret. Yeah. He feels pain, kheda utdemone. And so he's, whatever it is, he's feeling like something's got to change. And the fact that he's feeling that is meaning he's on his way. So, in a sense, the answer you could say to your question is, for him, it's already started. And if we have any sense of regret or feeling, I'm not really feeling that eagerness, that rati. Where was that? Wasn't that in this song? Yes, beginning of verse 4. Vishesha vishaye mati nahilo vaishnave rati. So wanting to have that rati, that attraction. But, putting dates on these things is always difficult, isn't it?
I didn't mean like dates, but like what needs to happen to
what's
our
required
hearts.
to
Yes,
get there.
yes.
Maybe some more pain. Maybe we need to feel worse before we can, before we do something about it. So sometimes it can be that Krishna is like, he's sort of like, okay, let's see. Okay. Is that okay?
Yes.
Dear Lalita, comment, question?
Yes, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the song. And Hare Krishna to my God family. Well, I had this question before, but now Avdara Chandrika had opened the whale. So I've been reading as probably all the devotees in Krishna consciousness read about different advanced devotees' lamentations for Krishna, and including Narottama Das Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and many others. And I happen to notice something, but I don't know if that's really genuine, or am I just sort of too sentimental. I've noticed that closer advanced devotee is closer he is to Krishna. I think even a small remembrance of doing something wrong or not being in touch with Krishna gets sort of so exaggerated and causes them pain, even though it is, I mean, from, let's say, my perspective, or a person who is not there yet, even something small, it becomes like so big, and that causes the suffering and the pain and regret and
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Why is that?
is that so? And if it is, why is it so? Because
Is it so?
because
Why
it's
is
just little traces of something left. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe there were moments when Narottama Das Thakur wasn't with Krishna, which I don't really believe in that. But even if he did, that feeling of pain, him not being in a Vaishnava association, it's just becomes so like painful that that he calls out for Krishna more and more.
Yeah. Well, one point is because as we practice spiritual life, we're becoming sensitized to what's favorable and what's not favorable. Material life, it's called, one way it's expressed is jada, like jada buddhi or jada mati. The word jada means dull, or it can mean completely lifeless. It can mean having no sense at all. Is that also a Hindi word?
Yes.
Jada?
Jada.
Yeah.
Roots.
Huh?
Roots.
Root?
In English, roots.
Roots?
That word.
Yes. Jada.
As in a tree has roots?
Under.
Oh, under. Okay. In Sanskrit, I think it has more a sense of being dull, like we say dead stone. But also jada maya and jada jagat sometimes is used, this dull universe. So anyway, material existence means being insensitive to spiritual things, to things that are illuminating and uplifting and good for us. So, and as we're hearing and chanting and doing service and associating with devotees, some sensitivity is coming, isn't it? Some sensitivity is coming, certainly. And with that sensitivity, actually, it can be, we can feel quite discouraged as we become more aware of how dull we are. So we're becoming sensitive, and by becoming sensitive, we realize how dull we are. And being aware of how dull we are, we feel terrible. I always feel this, especially when I go to Vrindavan. At least the first few days, I'm feeling like, oh, I really don't think I belong here. I think I'm out of place here. I hope nobody notices. So, yeah, that sensitivity is there, and that's of course also a good thing because there's where have I seen this? I think it's in the Bhagavatam, but it's been long since I read. I think it's a verse that something to the effect that just as our eye can feel disturbed if even a single hair touches it. In that way, well, and then I don't know the exact comparison it's making, but it's something about, I think, being sensitive to what is spiritual, what is material.
Well, thank you very much. I also noticed in devotees' relationship, especially living in community and serving Krishna intensely on daily basis. So I can see that lots of, I mean, I don't know if I'm seeing it right, that's why I'm checking with you, that maybe some devotees may be more sensitive to importance of different details in service to the others, and then it could come into different arguments or maybe different misunderstanding and stuff. But if that is so, if I would have that knowledge, then I may be able to understand it better. So, and in that way, not be to have a proper understanding and carry on with my service.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of things. One is, in general, it's true as devotees become more sensitive to what's good and what's spiritual and what's not good and what's not spiritual. We can also have a problem of becoming hypersensitive to what other devotees say or don't say or do or don't do, right? I see some nodding heads here. and then that becomes, and then we hear about how dangerous Vaishnava aparadha is, and then that can go in very complicated ways. Like, oh no, I'm making an aparadh, or oh, he's offending me, and it can go in all sorts of ways. And I think it's tied in with another issue, and that is in our sincere desire for some sort of perfection in our own spiritual lives and in our services, we jump to have very high expectations of everyone, and we become hyper perfectionists. Some become hyper perfectionists, and others
Very true.
just the opposite. Because both of them are interpreting, what is it? They're both interpreting the Rupa Goswami's niyamagraha in two opposite ways, because it can be interpreted in two opposite ways: niyama agraha and niyama agraha. Right? One is niyama agraha is sort of saying the rules and regulations are everything and missing the point of the rules. And niyama agraha is, neglecting the rules.
So the balance is the best.
Yeah, so it's a balancing act, and we're not always very good at that.
No. Thank you so much, Brahma. You just really give a light to a broader perspective so that you can see maybe better picture, bigger picture instead of just seeing a small detail of a large picture.
Well, if you're talking about, for example, deity worship in the temple especially, then being concerned for details is very nice. But there has to be also some flexibility. I won't say names or places, but one pujari, head pujari, in one temple, I had to do some sort of counseling. This was 3 or 4 years ago. I had to do some sort of counseling coaching because the head pujari was so fanatical that everything should be so clean and so perfect. This head pujari was driving everybody crazy. Hare Krishna. Careful. Who is this gentleman? Huh?
How am I?
Huh?
I could be better, but I'm better now when I see you.
Oh, you're Narottama.
No,
you're not Narottama.
I'm Matei. I came from with Uruguay.
Uruguay.
Yeah.
Say your name again.
Matei.
Mate. Welcome, Mate.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, so anyway, that's all a big subject. And that's sort of what comes to my mind for now.
Thank you very much. Could I ask you a question?
Oh, okay.
If you have time during today's session, because we're celebrating 50 years of installation of Shri Radha Gokulananda at the Bhaktivedanta Manor and 50 years of existence of the temple.
Shri Radha Gokulananda ki jai.
But you were there as well at that time, and Srila Prabhupada was there in 1973. So I was thinking if you have time to share with us some of your memories there during today, whatever you would like to share. I think that would be cool.
I can't remember much. That was 50 years ago. That's 5 decades ago.
Indeed.
For some reason, one thing that always sticks in my mind is one little moment in when Prabhupada was giving a Bhagavad Gita class in the evening on Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 verse 1. So how does that verse go? Everybody knows. Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva. Come on, everybody, all together now. Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. So Prabhupada was having, it must have been Pradyumna. Prabhu was chanting the verse, and then it was as he would do, he would open it up and others could chant. So the first devotee to chant was, I won't mention names, was another, at that time, senior devotee. So he chanted the verse, Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra Samaveta Yuyutsava Mamaka Pandavas Chaiva Kim Akurvata Sanjaya. And Prabhupada said, Kim. And he repeated, Kim Akurvata. No, Kim. And I think Hare Krishna. Some of us are a little careful, and some are less careful with their physical movements. Hare Krishna. Welcome, Urugaya. Please don't hit Tulsi again, okay? Thank you. Oh. So, yeah, that's one little thing I remember. That Prabhupada was correcting this devotee's pronunciation. And yes, I remember there were very wonderful kirtans with Prabhupada present. There's a famous photo, actually it's video, and you may know this, where the devotees are having kirtan and Prabhupada is there in front of Shri Radha Gokulananda. And at one point, Prabhupada raises his hands like this, and everyone goes mad. They just pounding in kirtan. I remember that. And I was, quite the new devotee, and it was all very overwhelming. It was quite overwhelming just to be in Bhaktivedanta Manor. We were all, our experience in Germany was, we had a little rented house, 2-story house, but rented, small wooden house, old house in Heidelberg. Rohrbacher Straße 31. I still remember the address. And I'm sure that house is no longer there. It's probably been torn down, replaced by high-rise apartments. Anyway, and other places were just, rented apartments and so on. So then we all went to Bhaktivedanta Manor, and here was this. It was a mansion with gardens and with this big, nice pond there, and on and on. And we saw all of this, and we were all from Germany. We were all kind of with our jaw hanging on the floor. And Prabhupada was there, and yeah, it was just all so wonderful. It was all so wonderful. That's pretty much what I remember. Okay, I wanted to share with you another book, which has been written already some years ago by His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. Some of you will already know of it, but it just arrived here. It's called Vanity Karma, Ecclesiastes, the Bhagavad Gita, and the Meaning of Life. Ecclesiastes. Now, this is the English name of one of the chapters of what Christians call the Old Testament and what Jewish people call the Hebrew Bible. Ecclesiastes is, it's one of the books, and it's generally classified with the wisdom literature of the Bible. And Jayadvaita Maharaj got inspired to write essentially a commentary to this chapter of the Bible. So that's what he did. He himself is from a Jewish background, and so it was, I think, for him also something of a personal part of his personal spiritual journey to revisit this particular section of the Bible. And there's one phrase that's repeated several times in Ecclesiastes, which probably you've all heard, and that is vanity, vanity, all is vanity. And the chapter as a whole paints a very dark picture of material life. If you're feeling too happy sometime, and you feel like you want to get more sober and maybe even depressed, just read this chapter. What is it called in Slovenia? Ecclesiastes? I thought you might be looking it up. No. Anyway, this is it's a very nice book. I read it before he published it because he sent it to me asking for my suggestions. And what he's doing is going through the entire chapter or the entire book called Ecclesiastes, kind of verse by verse. So he gives translation, and he did considerable research. He read what scholars have written about this particular book of the Bible, and then he gives his commentary, which is always referring to the Bhagavad Gita. And he won a prize for this. What was it? Some kind of book prize. Oh, I thought it would be here. There was a book prize. He got a prize for it. So just to read the translation of the beginning of Ecclesiastes, the first 11 verses. The words of Kohelet, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Vanity of vanities, says Kohelet, vanity of vanities. All is vanity. You know the word vanity?
It's a long word, nečimiernost.
Nečimiernost. Yeah, it's kind of like something like pride, but so he goes on to say, what profit does a man have from all his labor at which he labors under the sun? One generation passes away and another generation comes, and the earth abides forever. The sun also rises and the sun goes down and hastens to his place where he arises. The wind goes toward the south and it circles to the north. Round and round goes the wind, and on its circuits the wind returns. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. To the place where the rivers go, there they go again. All things toil to weariness, tiredness, more than man can express. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. That which has been is that which will be, and that which has been done is that which will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. Maybe you've heard that before. That's from this. Is there a thing of which it might be said, see, this is new? It has already been in the ages before us. There is no remembrance of the people of former times, nor of the people of times yet to come, will there be any remembrance among those who come after? So that's the first 11 verses. And then in different headings, Jayabheta Maharaj discusses, for example, first he discusses vanity, and then what profit does a man have? And then under the sun, generation after generation, all things are weary, nothing is new, no remembrance. So with each of these, he has something to say from our tradition. A lot of what he says is, yes, Kohelet has made a good point, but we can say something more. So it's quite nice. Yeah. He's writing another book now. He told us some months ago. He's writing a book about Vanaprastha ashrama. Silence, everybody. Okay. Yeah, that's his point. He's saying, come on, everybody. Prabhupada said, should become Vanaprastha. So, okay. Anyone else have anything you would like to share? It's show and tell time. Oh, Jananivas, you are here. Hare Krishna, Jananivas. You're in your new home in Connecticut. Do you want to tell us a little about your move? He's just smiling. You would, if you turn on your microphone, then we can hear you. He just wants to.
I'm
there
sorry.
he is. Okay.
My apologies. Hare Krishna. My obeisances, Guru Maharaj. Hare Krishna, Vaishnavas, Vaishnavis.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Boro.
Buenos días.
Sí, buenos días. Yeah, so we've been here for about a little over, going 4 months, I think. And a town called Mansfield Center. It's about 10 minutes ride from Yukon. Beautiful
Means
town.
University of Connecticut for everyone.
Correct. Yukon. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful location. So we're happy to be here, and Krishna has provided a beautiful place for us.
Yeah. Can I ask you, I haven't heard from you since you were mentioning an idea to have a festival there in early October. Have you had any further thoughts about that?
Yes, so we did. I spoke with Siddhanta Prabhu, because he's got all the contacts of all the devotees all over, and see if we could organize something here. He's also moving to San Diego, by the way, from Los Angeles. And so he suggested that it may be too soon to do something, because we are also getting settled here, and trying to get it. Maybe next year would be a much better idea than just do it in October. And I think it was a good advice. However, we are having a retreat here in September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And
that's too early for me. Okay.
Yeah,
no, just so
this retreat is from the devotee come from Pune. Radhesham Prabhu is coming.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, he'll be giving a seminar for new devotees from the Boston area, some students from the universities out there. And they'll be staying here in a house, about 30, maybe 35 devotees. So it'd be interesting. 3 days.
Okay.
That will give us a taste about organizing something bigger.
Yeah, no, it'll be good for you to sort of test the waters of having such an event. Okay. So anyway, we'll be in touch because, as you know, I'm coming to New York on the 4th of October.
Correct. Were you able to arrange your meeting with the Bhakti Center for the 7th or the 14th?
The Bhakti Center is planned for the 14th.
Okay.
So yeah, we can see for other things.
Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
And anyone else have anything to tell us? Any birthdays? Something on the more serious side. I did want to request before I forget that everyone offer prayers for your godbrother, Daruka. Daruka is in Serbia. I have not heard from him directly. We hear this now from Divyambara that he is seriously ill with blood cancer, also known as leukemia, I believe. I don't know what stage he's in with that. I have heard zero details. So, and I'm trying to find out how to contact him. But prayers are certainly good. Yeah. So that was on the more serious side. Okay. If not, Ecclesiastes in Croatian is crkveni. Okay. No, but that's okay. Yeah, the ecclesiastic, that means having to do with a church, I think.
Translation from him was just from Romania. It's the same. It's a
Well, whatever. The book is called Vanity Karma. Vanity. What's the Croatian word for vanity? Some research for that. Okay. What we can do now, Tashtina. Rajali Lavati is saying Tashtina or Tashtina. Could be. All right. So what I would like to do now for a few minutes is go back to 5th Canto Bhagavatam. Hari Bo. And for this, I will share screen. First, I need to find where I want to be. Commentaries, okay. All right, so now we were discussing chapter 16, which is describing Jambudvīpa. Now I want to move to chapter 17. Here it says chapter 2, but that's chapter 2 of the book of commentaries. The descent of the river Ganges. The descent of the river Ganges, or Ganga. And I want to look at commentaries to this, and we'll see if there's something interesting. But first we can read. I hope you can all see. Should I make it larger? Larger. Yes. Okay, the first verse, which is not a verse because it's all prose, goes in translation like this. Shukadeva Goswami said, "My dear king, Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of all sacrifices, appeared as Vamana Deva in the sacrificial arena of Bali Maharaja. Then He extended his left foot to the end of the universe and pierced a hole in its covering with the nail of his big toe. Through the hole, the pure water of the causal ocean entered this universe as the Ganges River. Having washed the lotus feet of the Lord, which are covered with reddish powder, the water of the Ganges acquired a very beautiful pink color. Every living being can immediately purify his mind of material contamination by touching the transcendental water of the Ganges, yet its waters remain ever pure. That's a whole subject in itself. There's a book on this subject in relation to the Yamuna River. But let's keep reading. Because the Ganges directly touches the lotus feet of the Lord before descending within this universe, she is known as Vishnupadi. Later, she received other names like Jahnavi and Bhagirati. After 1,000 millenniums, the water of the Ganges descended on Dhruva-loka, the topmost planet in this universe. Therefore, all learned sages and scholars proclaim Dhruva-loka to be Vishnupada, situated on Lord Vishnu's lotus feet. Okay, that's the verse, which is not a verse. It's a prose statement. Sri Shuka Uvacha Tatra Bhagavata Sakshat Yagyalingasya Vishnor Vikramato Vamapad Angushta Naka Nirbin Nordvanda Kataha Vivarenanta Pravishta, etc. One thing you'll find in these prose verses of this, in the 5th canto, and also in the beginning of this, is it? Not in the beginning, but in some of the 6th canto, there's also some prose, is you'll find lots of very long compounds. What's a compound? A compound is when there's 2 or more words together without any grammatical markers, except at the very end. So, for example, here we have Vama padangushta naka nirbin nordvanda kataha vivarenanta pravishta. That's, in effect, that's one word, which is describing, of course, Vamanadeva and his pada angushta. Angushta means thumb. And in Sanskrit, the big toe is called the foot thumb. The foot thumb. Pada angushta, naka. And naka means what? Nails, right? We know this from Nrsimha prayers. Nirbinna urdvanda, nirbinna urdvanda, tataha vivarena anta pravishta. So anta pravishta means entering. So the whole thing is describing the Ganges. So it's feminine, pravishta, long A. And anta pravishta, having entered into the universe. So that's all being described. Okay, let's see now a little from the commentary. I've marked some things that I thought were especially interesting. A general point that strikes me about the commentaries of all of this is they seem to have no interest in what we moderns would call second order thinking. Second order. There's first order and there's second order. Second order is thinking about thinking, in effect. They show no indication of wanting to sort of step back and say, what is going on here? How am I supposed to believe this? Srila Prabhupada, very often, because he knows his audience, he's addressing his audience. And we can read his commentary to this verse, in which he emphasizes that the Ganges is purifying. But just from, let's see. So Vishnu, the striding one, stamped the ground with his right foot and extended his left foot above. So that was in the verse, and he's just confirming that. The toenail of which ruptured the upper part of the cosmic shell. So let me back up, though. I was saying they don't seem interested in secondary thinking, second order thinking. So what are they doing? Well, they're making sure that we understand the Sanskrit. And of course, they're writing in Sanskrit, but often they are giving gloss. A gloss is sort of like an equivalent word for one word from the verse is here. They'll give another word, which is clarifying, making the same, has the same meaning or similar meaning. So often they're doing that. And another thing they're doing is sometimes helping to see what the order of words is, because in Sanskrit, actually, word order is practically speaking insignificant. You can say, in English, the example in English is the dog bit the man. In Sanskrit, you can say the man bit the dog, but it won't mean that the man bit the dog because of the grammatical endings that make you understand. No, even though the sentence starts with the man, you understand that the dog is the subject of the sentence. So, but in Sanskrit, yeah. So in Sanskrit, you can put words anywhere, practically, and then you have to figure out. Wait a minute, that word. Let's put it there. Let's put that one there. Okay, now it starts to make sense, and that's called samanvaya. So sometimes they're doing that, and sometimes they'll add something to clarify or to give some explanation. Sometimes they will argue against what they say is a wrong idea, but in these sections, they don't seem to do that. Okay, let's see what else is there. The previous commentary was Sridhar Swami, where he's pretty much just clarifying. And then we have Vijayadvaja Tirtha, and he is following Madhvacharya. In this chapter, the descent of Bhagirathi is described, even by involuntarily drinking its water. A person gets his mind purified and develops unsurpassed devotion to Lord Hari. So he's emphasizing that someone may not even know that they're drinking Ganges water. They'll still be benefited. He doesn't use the word ajñata sukriti. We might want to say, oh, that sounds like ajñata sukriti, perhaps. But in any case, he says, even by involuntarily. Ayatnena is the Sanskrit. I just now noticed it's the first word in his commentary. Ayatnena bhagirati jalanishevaya nirmala antakaranasya pungso harao niratishaya bhakti, unsurpassed devotion to Lord Hari. That's this up here, niratishaya bhakti. Anyway, I found that interesting. Then another thing he says, the descent begins from outside the cosmic shell as a continuous stream of water to the place called Vishnupada, or the abode of Lord Hari, in his Shishumara, or porpoise form. So he's just, again, giving a little elaboration. He's saying, okay, we read in the verse that the water is coming in. Where is it going? It's going to a place called Vishnupada. What is that? He's giving a kind of different explanation here. It's a place from Sridhar Swami, I guess. It's the place, it's the abode of Lord Hari in his Shishumar, or porpoise form. Now, the Shishumara of the universe, what is that? Does anybody know? It's the Milky Way. It's said to be in the shape of a porpoise. So what we understand is millions and millions of stars or galaxies, whatever it is. That's the abode of Hari. A porpoise is a big fish, dolphin. I don't know if there's a difference between a dolphin and a porpoise. Yeah. Okay. And then he's talking about this reddish, pinkish color that comes. The red color may cause desire in the devotees' minds. Would this not instigate them to commit sins? No. Since the river eradicates, it removes the sins of the entire world, even by its mere touch or by sipping, then what to say of the effect of bathing in it, etc. Now, this would be an example of refuting a possible doubt. So this is something that comes often in the commentaries, is refuting a possible doubt which someone could have after reading a verse. So someone could read, oh, it says, that there's this pinkish thing. Well, gosh, somebody might start feeling lusty by seeing the color red. Okay, maybe. But what he's doing is he's showing that doubt is anticipated in the verse. The verse is answering that doubt. How is it answering it? It's answering it by saying that anyone who bathes in the Ganges is purified. Or even by the mere touch. Since the river eradicates the sins of the... Okay, I read that. And then he gives a word from the verse, which is not a verse, sakshat. So that means directly, which means at once, indicates that even by singing the glory of or the names of the river, one's sins are removed. Then what to mention of the effect of touching? So you can just sing about the Ganges, and that's also purifying. What to speak of touching? So touching is very powerful. Bathing in the Ganga is very powerful. I always remember, maybe I've told some of you, years ago when Jayapataka Maharaj was much more healthy, He was traveling nonstop everywhere. I asked him once, how do you do it? How do you do it? How do you keep the energy? And he said, it's very simple. He said, I make a point in my travels to go back to Mayapur once a month and bathe in the Ganga. Yeah.
This is his Sanga.
That's his, yeah. At that time now, it hasn't been possible. His health has also become challenging again. Okay, it goes on to say, yeah, so even singing the glory, what to speak of touching? And then he's quoting from the verse, not referred to by any other words, means the names found in scriptures and epics. So we'd have to go back and figure that out. But then he says, this water comes directly from his lotus feet, distinguishing it from even the equivalent hallowed, means sacred, water used to bathe the divine shalagram stone. So he's saying the water of the Ganga is more sacred than Charnamrita that's bathed shalagram. That's what he says. It's interesting that shalagram is in quotation marks. Anyway, during different kalpas, the feet differ. It is said that in the Varaha Kalpa, Lord Trivikrama lifted up his left foot, and in other kalpas, he lifted the right foot. So if anyone ever asks you, which foot did Vamana lift, and he penetrated the shell of the universe, then you know, you can say, don't you know? It's in the Bhagavatam, left foot. And then someone may say, but I heard it's the right foot. And you can say, oh, come on, everyone knows. Vijayadvaja Tirtha says that that's in a different kalpa. In this way, you can be very smug. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, is this interesting for you all? Huh?
Yes, yes.
We just have a few more minutes. Okay, Vishwanath Thakur says, the names of Ganga, its descent to earth, the joys of earthly gold, the service of Rudra to Sankarshan are told in the 17th chapter. So he's first giving an overview, because this is verse number 1. He's saying, okay, what's chapter 17 about? Well, it's about the Ganga, different names of the Ganga. It's about its coming down. It's about the joys of earthly gold. It's about service to Rudra, by Rudra to Sankarshan. That's all going to be in this chapter. And he says something interesting about the water. He lifted up his left foot, and then says, as mentioned in the Brahma Purana, extended his presence to the outer shells of the universe. Quote, water stream of pure consciousness from outside of the 8 outer shells of earth, etc., relates to the causal ocean which descended into the head, onto the head of heaven, that is, Dhruva's place. Okay, he's just quoting, and I just found it interesting how he's describing the causal ocean is water. It's a water stream of pure consciousness. It would take me a minute to find the Sanskrit of that, but let's not linger. Then we have commentary of Sri Vamshidhara. So Vamshidhara is a sub-commentary to Sridhar. And he's very late. He's from the late 19th century, as far as we know. There's very little known about Vamshidhara. But he says something interesting. Do you want to hear what he says? He says, thus having described the beauty of the perimeter, filaments, etc. of Meru, so he's referring back to the previous chapter, the sage now begins to describe the most grand origin of the river Ganga, lustrous like a diamond in a crown with her very long branches. So the Ganga is described as being like a diamond in a crown and having long branches. I assume this refers to the tributaries. So the Yamuna is a tributary, in one sense, of the Ganga, as are others. At Varanasi, there come Varanasi is where I think it's called the Varana and the Asi. These are two rivers that come into the Ganga at Varanasi. So these are all very long branches. And another point he makes, I'm jumping to the end of what he says. Oh, this will surprise you. He says, yuga here denotes the technical term used in astronomy consisting of 5 years, as, according to Sripati, quote, a yuga comprises 5 years. So that would mean instead of 1,000 yugas, meaning 1,000 times which yuga? Well, or maybe yuga cycle, hundreds, thousands, millions of years. He's saying, no, it's only 5,000 years. That's also a pretty long time. But the other commentators seem to not agree with him. Somewhere later is something else. Okay, one more interesting comment I found from Giridhara Lal, and he is a sub-commentator to Vallabhacharya. He says, while defeating the demons, the incarnation as Vamana took place. How long was the period it took for the river to reach Dhruva's place? He says, 1,004 yuga cycles equal the duration of one, quote unquote, night of Brahma. On top of heaven indicates that being beyond the 3 worlds, it is not destroyed by the pralaya, the deluge. Taken literally, 1,000 yugas are well within the daytime of Brahma, and thus the descent of Ganga in Dhruva's place is plausible. Plausible means we can believe it. So it's kind of a technical point. He's saying, well, how long does Lord Brahma live? Okay, he lives a long time. But 1,000 yugas, that's only one day or night. And it's saying it's taking a day if we take it literally, it's taking a day for Ganga to come inside to Dhruvaloka. So he's saying, it's okay, we can believe that. Yeah. Well, I just, as I said before, I'm kind of looking at all of this for my own illumination to see if I can work out something to say at this conference that's going to come up in November. And so I thought I'll share this with you, and this way it'll be possibly, hopefully interesting to you. I think also here you get some ideas. You get a little sense of what commentaries are doing, the traditional commentaries. We usually, of course, we read Prabhupada's commentary, and maybe I should end with this. He says, I won't read the whole thing. Yeah, he says, it's in the practically beginning. He says, the water of the Ganges is called Patita Pavani, the deliverer of all sinful living beings. It is a proven fact that a person who regularly bathes in the Ganges is purified both externally and internally. Externally, his body becomes immune to all kinds of disease. And internally, he gradually develops a devotional attitude toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's agreeing, of course, with Shukadeva Goswami, and he's, in this case, elaborating. He's saying, and he's bringing it, of course, he wants to connect what means purified. Purified means one will develop a devotional attitude to the Lord. And of course, that takes us back really to what Maharaj Parikshit is interested in. He indicates that in the beginning of the previous chapter. I want to hear about this. Why? Because I want to remember the Lord also through his creation. Somebody just sent a message, and that means and that means it's time for us to end for today. Oh, let me do this now. Yes. Right. So let me look at my calendar. I think next week I'm not going to be available. No, next week is I'm going to be in Dubrovnik, and I'm going to be in the midst of a conference called the Dubrovnik International Conference on the Sanskrit Epics and Puranas. And my presentation is in that conference is on Saturday. So I really am going to have to be there. They scheduled me on Saturday. So what to do?
What about next Saturday, 19th?
Oh, let's see, 19. Oh, I'm sorry. What I was talking about was the 19th. Next week is the 12th, not the 19th. Okay. I think it's possible. Let's see. Yes, next week should be possible. 12th. Yes. So erase what I just said about. All right. So thank you all very much. I wish you a wonderful week, and take care, chant, be happy. Be careful. Don't slip in the wet rain, and don't slip otherwise. Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Vaishnavarinda ki jai, for Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai Guru Maharaj.
Hare
Hare Krishna family.
everyone.